If we go back and we look at past record high breaks, or if we eclipse the old all-time high, 3 of the 4 times, Bitcoin doubled in 18 days or less.
Bitcoin's price did hit a new all-time high today of 69,200 before a flush out, a rejection of over 7%. Bitcoin's sudden 7% drop caused a bloodbath for the leverage traders, as the frenzy triggered nearly $600 million in total liquidation, and flushing out the leverage is healthy. Bitcoin will always purge the greedy leverage longs. Don't be greedy, stay humble, stack sats. But since the correction, and as we approach all-time highs again,
once you break through an all-time high, it's price discovery. What is this thing worth? The world is going to try to figure that out. And 3 of the last 4 times, in 18 days or less, it doubled in price.
Plus the Bitcoin halving in about 40 days.
You add in the fact that we have the halving coming, and we're going to go from 900 Bitcoin a day coming into the supply to 450. And it's very hard to make an argument that Bitcoin is not going much higher and at a faster pace than we all expected.
I mean, when you do the math, I feel like I need to say that past results are not indicative necessarily of the future, because it just you sound so, I mean, it just sounds that anyone at home would you know, if they're totally new at this game, they might mortgage their house and put it all in Bitcoin. And there is still risk in the asset, is there not?
I definitely don't think that they should do that, right? I think 1 to 5% for a traditional portfolio ends up making sense.
But you just made a case for going from 70 to 140 in 18 days. I mean, that sounds like things that you hear on TV where you just want to really stay away from.
Bitcoin's up 20% in the last week. It's up 60% in the last month, and it's up 200% in the last year. I'm not saying it's going to 140,000. What I'm saying is 3 of the last 4 times, it doubled in 18 days. And with a halving upon us, it's just hard to not say this is likely to go much, much higher.
Now the Bitcoin ETFs continue to break records. Just in, the spot Bitcoin ETFs have already traded over $6 billion today. Volume for the Bitcoin 10 is really intense today. Over $6 billion traded. And for context, that's more than Microsoft has traded with a couple hours left to go, probably going to beat last Wednesday's record. BlackRock, Fidelity, Grayscale, Bido are all in the top 15 most active ETFs today. And even BlackRock is doubling down, seeking to add Bitcoin ETFs now to their strategic portfolio.
There's 3 main new buyers that are now going to come into the market. The first is public pension funds, right? We had a fund. It was anchored by 2 public pension funds in Fairfax County. Catherine Molnar and Andy Speller were the CIOs there, and they're up 12x on their exposure to Bitcoin in that fund. And so when you see that, you say to yourself, wait a second, there's only 4 funds last year in all of state public pension funds that were fully funded. If they all went and put 1% in Bitcoin, there's a very strong possibility that a number of those funds would get back to fully funded status over the next 10, 15, 20 years. On top of that, you got sovereign wealth funds. They've been very quiet right now. There's now ETF opportunities for them. They don't have to go buy Bitcoin and potentially take the risk of the geopolitical backlash. They can simply go get the exposure without actually holding the Bitcoin. If a sovereign wealth fund comes out, especially a major one, and says, we've bought Bitcoin and it is a material percentage now of our portfolio, I think that there will be a global race between countries.
But Austin, all the charts are screaming toppy, frothy, sell. We are at a 90 extreme greed in the Fear and Greed Index. And for reference, this is only 5 points away from the all-time high greed levels seen in February 2021. And while further correction is possible, and you understand that greater than 30% price declines during Bitcoin bull markets are normal and to be expected, you also need to understand that we have a new buyer accumulating Bitcoin today, and they don't care about your traditional charts.
The nature of this buyer does not care if it's driving Bitcoin up 5% every week. It will just keep on buying. We used to trade high yield bonds and securities, and we used to have ETFs in that market. And they're an interesting sort of buyer in that they are indiscriminate to where the price is. I think all the sort of money that's come in, even on the institutional side into crypto, largely there may have been strategies about buying it, or they would have waited for certain times. They're more like active managers coming in. They would take bonds that we used to trade, and they would actually take them to negative yield. Like we used to trade bonds with call options attached to them. And the ETF would just keep buying. They do not care if it's the wrong time to buy, if it looks, if it's been 10 straight days of it going higher and the RSI is at 95, they do not care. And And I think that's something that the market will kind of have to get used to, is that we will start to see these consecutive runs where we start to push the edges of maybe technical indicators and things start to feel frothy, and it will just keep on going. So that's the thing that's really caught me on this, is that if you're a chartist looking at some of these, I think you can get burnt quite badly, because I actually think we're just going to keep on going higher.
So as the Bitcoin price consolidates near all-time highs, understand this is an ongoing story, and click subscribe. You do not want to miss a daily video keeping you informed about crypto.
Rates are up and Bitcoin is back to an all-time high, stocks are up, et cetera. So what Bitcoin has become is a index for global liquidity. And although the Fed, the ECB, and Japan are actually contracting their balance sheets, China has been basically giving the middle finger to the rest of the global economy. And they're saying, hey, we're going to ease here. We're going to go and put liquidity into the market. And so Bitcoin is a big, big winner. If you believe that the dollar is going to continue to be debased over the coming decade, Bitcoin's going to be a winner. And if you think global liquidity is going to go up, Bitcoin's going to be a winner there too.
Breaking. New milestone achieved as we break through $1 billion in daily trading volume. This is for Polkadot. Let me update you on altcoins, and keep in mind, I am invested in these projects. Yes, Polkadot is more than just a blockchain. Polkadot is 51 blockchains where users and developers can create their own chains that are secured by Polkadot and can interact with other parachains in a seamless and trustless way. This is the leadership answering the question, is Polkadot more than just a blockchain? We also have Chainlink, which, as they describe themselves, and L3, the first aggregated L3 rollup uniting Ethereum L2s via ZK snarks. The news today is introducing Chainlink Nova, Ethereum's first aggregated L3 ZK EVM rollup that aggregates liquidity from any rollup using any L2 tech stack. So obviously great news for Chainlink, great news for Ethereum, but what does this mean to you? It means that developers can now deploy Solidity smart contracts, which is Ethereum's native programming language, on Nova and access liquidity and native assets from every ZK and OP L2. The time for a united and interoperable Ethereum rollup ecosystem is now. Also, speaking of liquidity, easy. The testnet is near completion, and you still don't understand why you need to list your assets on Easy.
I'm a CEO and founder of Easy, but just a quick elevator pitch. We are a gamified marketplace. Gamified marketplace for digital assets, tokens, tokenized real-world assets. We're just gamifying the common trading approach. That's what we're doing.
And of course, finally, major announcement for Altcoin Daily. Laughs await at the roast of Altcoin Daily, happening Thursday, April 11th at 6 p.m. in Santa Monica.
I love roasts. I love all those Comedy Central roasts. I love the Friars Club roasts back in the day.
If you'll be in the LA area, there is a special deal. 2 tickets for the price of 1. Links down below. Take advantage. I want to see you there. And like always, that's the video. See you tomorrow.